Time magazine once said that the beauty space on YouTube was one of the most powerful places on the internet. This is due to our purchasing power, how much money there is to be made by marketing to us. The other reason, we are ripe for drama.
I want to talk to you guys in this video. It's been so hard.
My name is MannyMUA, for those of you who might not know who I am. So today's video is a video I should have made a lot earlier.
There have been many controversies surrounding beauty influencers on YouTube, and many of us know the lore well. The most well-known of all are what we dubbed the Dramageddons, Dramageddon 1 and Dramageddon 2.
A lot has happened in Laura Lee's life in the past few months. During an ongoing feud with Jeffree Star, a 6-year-old's racist tweet from Laura Lee resurfaced, generating mass criticism and forcing the beauty guru to issue a tear-filled apology.
Gabby also tweeted, "Imagine standing a racist. I could never," referring to Jeffree's past controversies, also giving instances of when Jeffree has been racist when they were friends. So the beauty guru friends started receiving backlash for the post Zamora made, with all of them holding up their middle fingers.
No one's ever really explained why we call them Dramageddons, but I believe it's because of the meteoric shift, the end of an era feeling of these events. What we learned about the private lives of these influencers that changed the way we looked at them and the content we were consuming. But this is the thing. We may think we know everything that happened, but in the end, there is no way to know what really happened behind the scenes of these events, because we weren't there. We didn't see what went on behind the camera in the heat of these moments, but there was someone that was there, someone who saw it all and has never talked about what he saw and how he was involved until today. This is my interview with Gabriel Zamora. Gabriel and I sat down to talk about all of the things that he hasn't talked about before, things that very few people know, and he's spilling it all right now.
Oh,
Hi,
good.
everyone.
Hi, everyone. Oh, speaking of that, I'm going to do a little outfit change real quick.
Okay.
Hold on. Hi, everyone.
That's so iconic.
All right. So now I feel better. I feel like I'm interviewing Gabriel Zamora now.
Period. Should I put on one of my merch sweaters?
Yes, you could. I don't have merch, so you can't put mine on.
I'll put one of mine on. Wait. I
Okay. All right.
Like, so this one is
Hi.
hi, everyone. But the GH is like just outlined.
I love that. Oh
Very
my
on brand for
gosh.
me.
I love that. That is so cool. So how are you? How have you been?
So good. I'm so good. A lot has happened. I feel like just in life, I feel like every year, every day, like every week, things can happen that just,
Well, one event can change everything.
no, literally. Yeah.
Gabriel started off his influencer career working for Lily Lashes, helping to grow their social media presence.
She's like, oh, I'm looking to expand Lily Lashes and like hire more than just fulfillment. That's all she had. It was just her and like the fulfillment people. She's like, I want to hire somebody for PR and marketing. And I had a operational background. So I got to like kind of restructure the company while creating a kind of like social media presence differently. And I got to study influencers because of it.
Through this job, Gabriel was able to make connections with influencers that other people just didn't have access to.
So I would go to these makeup events and like meet influencers. I had friends like early on. I had met like Nikita, I had met Patrick Starr, and I would just kind of like go to events with them as well. And I got to meet people. I'd be like, hey, I work for Lily Lashes. And they're like, oh my God, I love those lashes. I can put you on. I can get you some lashes. I can get you some like referral codes, whatever you want. So I built the Lily Lash brand for about a year as I was simultaneously creating content.
Then Gabriel got an opportunity that also very few people can say that they've done. Create a custom lipstick shade with MAC Cosmetics.
Yeah, I had built a relationship with MAC pretty early on. This was like, I want to say like maybe 2016, or 2017, where, you know, brands started to give out PR. They were like, hey, like, we'd love to put you on PR. Like Anastasia was like one of the first ones. Morphe was one of the first ones, especially like tapping into influencers. So a couple months went by and people were like, where's MAC Cosmetics? Where's MAC Cosmetics? You know, it's like, they're not doing the influencer stuff. Okay. So then they reached out and they're like, hey, we'd love for you to come by and like meet Ariana Grande. And I was like, what? And I wasn't even like signed with Ipsy at the time. Like I was just still like an up and coming influencer. I'm like, I was working at Lily Lashes when I got this email. So I like asked Lily, I was like, hey, can I be off this one day? Because I'm gonna go meet Ariana Grande with MAC Cosmetics. And I thought it was like a lie at first because they hadn't sent me PR. And I'm like, what? Y'all don't even send me free makeup. How am I gonna go meet Ariana Grande? And they're like, do not disclose this, do not disclose this. It said so-and-so at MAC Cosmetics. So I was like, this is a legitimate email. I went, I got to meet her. She had collabed with Diva Glam. So I got to like just meet her. I have like videos. It was like with the blue hair. I looked a little crazy, but I love those photos. So I'm at MAC with my favorite girl in the entire world. And I started to build a repertoire with MAC Cosmetics. They took me to Corpus Christi for the launch of the Selena collab. They launched it at her hometown. And I got to do a lot of activations with them really early on. So I built a really good relationship with the MAC team. And they just asked me one day, they asked my team, they're like, hey, does Gabriel want to make a lipstick? We're making one with one other influencer from the US, but we're not going to disclose any names unless he is part of the project. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, absolutely down. Like, I always wanted to work at MAC Cosmetics, but I never got hired at MAC Cosmetics. I applied, but I never got hired. So I was like, oh my God, I like bypassed it. Now I'm making a lipstick with them. And once I agreed to it, they were like, okay, the other person in the US is Laura Lee, but it's going to be 10 lipsticks worldwide. And there's different people from different countries for the other 8. I believe Laura's lipstick sold out the day of, and mine sold out by the next day.
Wow, that's incredible. Because how long had you had a social media presence before that happened?
Not that long. Like a few years, less than a handful. I want to say like 2 years.
I've always wondered because you seem to come out of nowhere. Like with this MAC collab and then getting the deal being an Ipsy, like representative of Ipsy.
But what really brought Gabriel to the forefront of our beauty space was his employment with the subscription box Ipsy. At the time, Ipsy was at the top of their game. Subscription box unboxings were the hot video that everyone was watching, and the Ipsy creators were icons.
Hey guys, it's Sydney, and today we're here at this really cool recording studio for the November Glam Bag theme, which is Rock Starlet.
What I like about this theme is leather jackets, studs, red lips, winged eyeliner. I wanted to go for that makeup look where it's just like a smoky eye that maybe I slept in. I woke up the next morning, just like, I don't care. I'm so busy with my smoky eye.
When my love takes me home, it's 105 in a 30 mile zone. Foot like lead, nerves like steel. Wild ride when it's taking the wheel.
Here's Gabriel talking about how he got the job as an Ipsy creator.
An employee at Ipsy, he had seen my content and he ended up like seeing me at, it was funny. It was Ipsy, it was Gen Beauty LA. The year I wasn't an influencer. So a year later, I'm a representative. So a year before I'm there, Nikita sneaks me in because she's doing a meet and greet with like, I think 2 other influencers. I think it was like Kim Tai and another influencer. They were like all doing like a meet and greet. It was 3 of them. And Nikita's like, we're sneaking you in. We're sneaking you in. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you just gotta, and she always taught me this from early, and she just gotta pretend like you belong. You just gotta act like you belong here. You're gonna be my assistant. We're just gonna walk by and they're gonna give you a wristband. And I was like, okay, period. We got in and we were in there and I got to meet that employee. And I was like, hi, like I'm Gabriel Zamora. And they're like, oh wow, like you're a beauty boy, like you wear makeup. At the time, Patrick Star, MannyMUA, Mac Daddy, like these influencers are blowing up and men in beauty is starting to become a big conversation. And I think Ipsy definitely saw like their opportunity of like, okay, like we have in-house creators. Maybe we don't need hella guys, but we do want a guy to be able to represent the inclusivity that the brand represents. Because for the longest, it was about like, it was very like female focused, which isn't a bad thing, but they changed their verbiage once they started to see a larger presence of men in beauty. And they're like, oh, how do we become more inclusive? So they're like, okay, like Gabriel's an up and coming influencer. They kind of like get you early on. They don't get you at like 1 million followers. They kind of get you early on. And I'm very grateful and thankful for that opportunity because for 3 years, I was like almost like in a capsule with Ipsy where I had a salary. I was able to like be living as a micro influencer in 2016, 2017, which wasn't really as possible as it is now. Like now there's more opportunities. Brands understand that micro influencers definitely have an ROI, definitely can create sales and can still build a community that purchases. But at the time they didn't know that. They were like, you're like, we don't know if we want to sponsor you. So I got to just really build my social media as Gabriel Zamora while still having like deliverables within the brand each year.
At this point, Gabriel was immersed in influencer culture. His entire life centered around working at Ipsy during the day and hanging out with influencer friends at night, including Nikita Dragon and all of the influencers that she already knew in the space.
So Gabby and I are shopping for some looks right now, looking so wanting to live the fantasy.
It's too bright for the fantasy.
This relationship with Nikita, his job at Ipsy, and the popular video style of collaborating with other popular influencers led to the creation of a very famous friend group: Gabriel, Nikita, Laura Lee, and MannyMUA.
You know, going to all the Gen Beauties with these influencers, you've become really popular and you're in with this group of people. You also started doing a lot of collaborations with other influencers that were LA based, filming with them, and they were on your channel, you were on their channel.
Yeah.
What was that period of time like in the influencer space, being one of the people that like part of this friend group? The friend group that I remember the most was Manny, Laura, Nikita, and you.
Yeah.
So what was it like being, was there, am I missing another friend group, or that was pretty much, that was like the
I think there was like interchangeable people definitely throughout time. I think at one point Patrick Star was in our friend group. At one point Jeffree Star was in our friend group. Like there's always like friends that have come, but generally like it was us four that were like really close. Well, that we were like the group. Because me and Nikita were really close, like very, very close early on. I met her even before I had moved to LA. So we created a very long-term friendship. And she already was friends with Manny and Patrick through like social media. And I met Laura through Patrick because she was in his like channel trailer. Like back in the day, he did like a really big channel trailer that he filmed at Smashbox. He had a bunch of different influencers in it. And that's how I met Laura Lee, and I met Manny through Nikita technically. And we all just were all hanging out. Like eventually like Patrick and Laura moved into the same building. Manny was visiting LA more. I was living in LA. Nikita was living here. We were all just going to makeup events. We were also like, what is social media? Everybody was different sizes. I was meeting different friends that they would have, other influencers. And I think the best piece of advice to like up and coming influencers is just like, don't be thirsty. Just don't be thirsty. I think they all understood that. I was like, I don't care about y'all's fame. I'm more so fascinated maneuvering my own and like making sure that I'm doing a good job. It was never like ooh, you have followers. Let me hang out with you. Let me collab with you so I can like be seen with you. It was never that. Every time you saw me in somebody's stuff is because they asked me to be in it.
But like any real group of people in real life friendships, there is bound to be some kind of conflict. And when everyone in the friend group has a strong social media presence, what one person does reflects on all the others. Controversial beauty YouTuber Jeffree Star had popped in and out of Gabriel's friend group, but permanently left it, according to Jeffree, because he felt used. Here's a clip from Shane Dawson's docuseries on Jeffree of Jeffree talking about his ex-friends. At one point, you can see the back of Gabriel's head with his bright blue hair.
Is racist the only thing they think? Because I've heard like monster on Twitter, oh monster, oh evil, oh this, that. And when I really look into it, I don't really see much else besides like petty tweets.
If you already don't like me, you're gonna get the portrayed version of I go through friends quickly.
Right.
And I don't think people get to see what really happens behind the scenes, so I always look like the loud mouth and the bad guy. Because I speak up and I clap back and I say things.
Because it's 2018 and all you negative motherfuckers that were in my life last year, you're gone. See ya!
A lot of it is it's not like I need to have the last word, I just don't like when there's misinformation. Like with my ex-friends, people still don't really know what went on. Why do I feel like they need to know? Because there's so many versions of what never happened out there, and for some reason I don't want to be portrayed as that still. Like half the people still think I'm the bad guy when I only loved and cared about all these people and boosted them up and gave them all my connections, and I'm still the bad guy. And it's like, how do you even trust the next friend? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm a damaged person, 100%.
Behind the scenes, though, Gabriel had heard people talking about Jeffree's racism and was appalled. Even though he hadn't seen it for himself, he took the word of others in the beauty space and developed a strong negative opinion about him. Gabriel told me that he had seen Jeffree act crazy and that he and Nikita had started to distance themselves from him because they didn't want to deal with him. But it was the racism allegations that led up to what we now call Dramageddon 1. I'm going to go ahead and just let Gabriel explain what happened from here.
So your friendship with Nikita, you said, was definitely the closest. And it seemed like that was the closest friendship because she's the one that you collabed with the most and continued to collab with over the years.
Yeah.
But you did have a situation that happened with that friend group that was loving.
What are you talking about?
You know, it was something. I remember there was some kind of picture or something, some kind of something. I think it was called Dramageddon. It was originally just Dramageddon, but then it had to be Dramageddon 1 because there was a Dramageddon 2, and then some people even say there was a Dramageddon 3.
Yeah.
So the Dramageddon 1 was kickstarted. If you've ever, anybody that's watching this, if you've heard of that, can we blame Gabriel for Dramageddon 1?
Absolutely. We can absolutely say that I started it because that was the tweet heard around the world. That was the tweet that started it all. It lit the fire to the flame. All the other things were there. The dry brush was there, covered in gasoline with maximum oxygen, no fanning of the flames. Like it was ready to burn. And I said, here's the match. Let's light it up.
My impression is you didn't do that on purpose.
No. I didn't tweet that thinking Dramageddon was going to unfold. I tweeted it because I was being petty, and there's a popular saying that I reworded, and it's just like, bitch is bitter because my titties are bigger.
Oh.
Bitches is bitter, my titties is bigger.
Yes. So I reworded it as like, bitch is bitter because without, and I wanted it to rhyme. So I was like, because without him, we're doing better. So it was like bitter and better. Those were the like matching things, right?
Right. It was catchy.
Yes, it was so catchy. And I love to write. You know, I've been writing poetry from time to time. I love it. So I was like, okay.
Catchy, I think.
Yeah, it was a little too catchy. I loved it.
So, okay. So you tweet out the picture and it was like kind of a slow burn to an explosion.
Yes.
And it was exploding everywhere. Your life is exploding because from my perspective, it seemed like the Jeffree Star fans who were not happy with you subtweeting him, that you all were doing better now that you weren't friends with him, that his fans then dug up dirt on all four of you, or at least tried to.
Yeah.
and blew it up. And
Yeah.
it blew up more for some people than others.
Yeah.
It seemed to start with you
Hmm.
and then went to Laura and then to
Hmm.
Manny.
Yeah.
And it's like they tried to get Nikita, but they didn't.
Yeah. Nikita was so unbothered by it. She's like,
And I have questions about this, okay?
okay.
And I was gonna hold off on Nikita for a minute. But that was one thing that fascinated me about this whole situation is how Nikita came out completely unscathed in
Hmm.
all of it just by saying nothing.
Yeah. I
Like
think she
what?
went on Snapchat. She issued an apology on Snapchat, and then it was
Okay.
just that. It was like, okay, bye. And just like went about her life.
It was unbelievable. It was it blew my mind because everybody else is I mean, Laura's crying and Manny's crying and you're apologizing and Nikita's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm good. So what was that like? Like being there in it and being involved in it because the rest of us just watched it from the outside.
Hmm. It's like being in your first fight if you've ever been in one. You could be ready for it. You could have trained for it, but it's not until you're in that moment where that adrenaline is rushing and you're just like, what is this feeling? What is going on? You're just not aware. Like that was my first. I feel like these social media things sometimes are like digital fights. Now it's like I know how to like compose myself. I know how to like handle myself. I know what to speak on, what to not speak on, what to hold of importance, of value, what's really important to address, what's doesn't matter to address. I know how to like maneuver it now. But at the time I was like, what is this? Like what is going on? It was probably like one of the most chaotic things I've ever been involved in. Now in hindsight, it definitely seemed a lot scarier in the moment. Like it seemed like the world was ending. Like it seemed like I didn't want to leave my house because I thought everybody on the street knew. I thought everybody at the store knew. I thought everybody knew because it was such an echo chamber of us just constantly being in the beauty space where everybody's talking about it, everybody's tweeting about it, there's YouTube videos, there's this and that, but it's like when you go out into the world, like some of these people don't know, some of these people don't care. But in that moment, you think everybody knows, everybody cares. And when they're looking at you, you think that they're talking about that, thinking about that. And I was like, for months after, even though I didn't come out the most negatively out of it, I was still like worried that like people were upset at me because they were at a certain point. To get that much level of hate on the internet, it still feels like you're being punched. Like you're still going to be a little like traumatized by it and have like a tick to it because that's a lot of hate to just get on the internet. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Our brains are not wired to take that much feedback as a person, and especially having never been through something like that before and having that be your first big scandal with something that has gone down in the history of the entire YouTube space, not even just the beauty community, but you know, that was a huge deal.
That was the
And that was
first.
your first time ever experiencing anything like that. So that makes perfect sense that there would be like a level of trauma there, really. I mean, from having all of that come at you, not that you were, you know, you still made the choice that you made. And, you know, I know you take responsibility for the choice that you made, but there's still that human element of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're still going to like be nervous and anxious, and that's going to be overwhelming.
Yes, but I think your story is very different as compared to the other three in that you were the one who who put the picture out that kind of got everybody talking and the digging started. And then you came out with your My Truth video.
Yeah.
And you were getting all of this hate for the picture, but then your My Truth video dropped and it seemed like there was a huge shift.
Yeah.
In audience perception, in the feedback toward you, in the way people felt about you. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that was like from your perspective?
I basically broke the fourth wall with the audience. It was no longer just the curated YouTube video with the lights and the backdrop and like the editing. It was none of that. It was like, I genuinely felt like I only had Nikita. Like even my team at the time were like, ooh, like they were side-eyeing and I was like, damn, y'all don't believe in me? Like I was like, okay, cool. Like it's just me. Like it's just me. And I'm a little ghetto from Houston. Okay. Okay. So like I'm gonna fight. In my entire life, I've had to fight for my family and for my parents. I'm the oldest of four. I'm first generation to 2 immigrant parents who had a limited education up to middle school from rural areas in Mexico. When I would talk to customer service and I would figure things out for them since like the age of 9, I was doing this for them. So I was having to figure it out for them and I was having to like protect them and be like, no, 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 like, what is this fee for? Like, nothing happened. And I would have to defend them. Or when we would go out and people would be rude, it's like, hold on, like, don't be rude to my parents. Like, don't be mean to them. So I've always like defended people that I have love for. And that's always been my like MO. But when I put up that photo and I thought I was like, I at the time thought I was defending my friends against a friend that they're saying like, oh, he's this messed up person. Like, he's doing this, he's doing that behind the scenes. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, argue with somebody who want to fight. Like, argue with me. Like, come on. Like, we can have a conversation. I'm really good with words. Like, let's have a conversation. These people, I understand that sometimes people get flustered when it comes to conversations and an argument or also a debate. But me, I should have been a lawyer. I love it. Like that adrenaline like fuels the conversation for me sometimes. So I was like, okay, cool. So when things started to switch and I felt like kind of like, oh, my friends at the time were turning their back on me. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was defending y'all. At the end of the day, I'm never going to love anybody more than I love myself. So I'm about to go up to bat for myself.
The first apology that I owe, that I definitely wanted to make sure was in this video at the very beginning, is to y'all, my audience, because I was the person that I didn't want to be, and it was being negative, being petty, and bringing negativity into a world that didn't need it. And for that, I'm truly sorry. And I know I've let y'all down because I let myself down. The second apology that I owe is for an old tweet of mine that resurfaced from 2012. I don't want to give you excuses as to what my train of thought was. Just know that it was ignorant and it was stupid. And it didn't come from hate. I have taken time to realize that just putting out ignorance isn't gonna help a situation, because I've done that. So for that, I'm truly sorry and I've learned from it. And I hope that my actions since then have shown y'all that I've learned from it and I've better educated myself. And just know that I understand that it's not my word, and I've understood it ever since I was educated back then. And I know it's not my word, and I'm truly sorry that people still use that word and think that it doesn't have certain negative connotations. And I'm sorry that I fed into that at one point in my life. I was ignorant and I was stupid, and I take full accountability. And the third apology that I do owe on camera is to Jeffrey. I'm sorry just for everything, not just for the tweets, not just for the photo, just for it all, just for allowing myself to create an image of someone based on what others were telling me, and it's not fair because I wouldn't want that for me. So I want to go on camera and say that I'm truly sorry to you, Jeffrey, because what I did wasn't intended to be bullying, but I know now that it came across like that. And I totally respect that, and I'm sorry for that. Nikita comes up and she's like, hey, like, just so you know, sir, like, it looks like we all did this. Like, it looks like all 4 of us were in on this, and it looks like it's like we're bullying him. And I'm like, oh crap. And they're starting to get a bunch of hate because of my tweet. And I'm like, oh crap, like, this isn't fair for me to pull someone into this. And I fully took responsibility and I apologized to my friends. I'm like, hey, I'm really sorry because I drug you into this mess and I'm bringing you into this mess. And it was like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. We'll get through this. We're in it together. It's fine. I apologized to Laura. I apologized to Manny. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And it was very much the narrative of, it's just really bad timing. So it's not fair that you try to make it seem like we hate him. It's just really bad timing because of this docuseries and everybody's on his side. And in my head, I'm like, well, if you feel some type of way about someone, regardless of when it is, you should still feel that kind of way. But I'm like, okay, you know what? It's true. I'm gonna just listen and take that and allow people to speak. And if they're saying that and this is how they feel, that's fine. I then go to Laura and I'm like, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to do in this situation. I want to somehow start making this better. what do you think I should do? And she's like, do you mind deleting that photo? Because even I agreed, there was just a lot of accusations about her family, a lot of just false accusations about her family. And then it started to, people start saying certain things about certain people. And it was like, is this true? Wait, is this true? I was seeing those responses. And I'm like, okay, I totally agree. I'll delete it. She's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'll delete it. I'm taking full ownership. This is my fault. I know what I started and I want to make this better. That's why I deleted that tweet, because Laura asked me after I offered, how do I fix this? I get onto the bus. I'm still not aware what's really going on with everybody else, but Nikita's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, okay. Like, there's, like, just so you know, they're starting to bring up, like, tweets on everybody. Like, they're bringing like, old things of everyone up. And I'm like, that's not, I didn't want all this to happen. But when you put out negativity out into the world, just understand that it will give it back to you. The conversation is had of, hey, just so you know, it's becoming a lot more. And I'm like, okay. And we've been talking to our managers and our PR team, and we've just been thinking of a PR way to handle this. And I'm like, okay. And they have recommended that you take full accountability for the photo, you apologize for the photo, and you apologize to us for us not being involved. So I don't like that it seemed that I was the only one who thought this. I don't like that it was like, oh, Gabriel, you're gonna take full accountability. Cool, I did tweet it, but let's not try to make it seem like other people didn't really think these things. So I'm like, okay, cool, but I will take full accountability. I will take that. If I will take full accountability.
So these beauty gurus that were in the picture holding up their middle fingers, they liked the tweet when it came out, but then when there was backlash about the tweet, they all were like, no, we didn't see the caption, which is completely throwing their friend, one of their best friends, Gabby, under the bus, because he's the one that tweeted it, but obviously they favorited the tweet and they liked it, but they're like, no, it was all him. It was all his fault, which isn't what friends do. In case you need a friend lesson. Who likes a tweet on Twitter without reading the caption? The whole point of Twitter is for the caption.
I reached out to Jeffrey and we had a conversation and I was like, I feel like I want to make a video. He's like, you definitely should, and just like address things. And I was like, okay, cool. I filmed the My Truth video a total of 3 times. The first 2 times were like too emotional. Like I was too like heated. I was too upset and I wanted to vent, and it felt really nice to vent to the camera and be able to see it back and be like, ooh, Gabriel, that's 2 hours of emotion. You can cut that down. Like, you can cut a lot of these things down. And when I finally just filmed My Truth, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit in front of here. I have a skeleton outline of things that I want to talk about that I'm gonna hit, and at the end of the day, it's my truth. Like, this is what happened. It's my perspective. It's my truth. It wasn't the truth. It was my truth. It's my experience, my perspective, everything that I know to be factual. And I just sat there in front of the camera and I said, let's do it. Let's just film. I didn't edit anything because I didn't feel like I needed to edit anything. Then I was like, okay, like we need to hit these points. I listened to the audience. I was like, okay, what do you want me to address? I saw the videos. I saw the conversations in the comments of the Drama Channel videos. I saw the conversations on Twitter. I saw the conversations in my DM. So I addressed what I needed to address, and it felt like such a relief. And even like, mind you, like the only person I sent this video to was Nikita, and she watched it. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, I don't know how that's going to go. Like, I don't know. She's like, there's never been anything like this on the internet. Like, I don't know. They're either going to hate you or they're going to love you, but you're not lying. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know if that helps, but okay. And I just remember clicking upload and I'm like, it's 48 minutes long. I have to wait 48 minutes to even see comments because people have to watch the whole thing. So people are going to start commenting early on, probably negativity. And I was like, don't watch it for 48 minutes. Don't look at the comments for 48 minutes. So once I hit the 1 hour mark, Nikita came over and I hit upload and she's like, oh my God, you uploaded it. And I was like, I had to just put it out there. And I just remember like I hugged her and I just cried. And I was just like so scared because I was more so scared about losing my career for the sake of my family, because the money that I make and the opportunities and things that I get, I share within my family. I bring it to my family. So I was like, damn, did I just really mess up my career and this opportunity to not only like create success for myself, but also create success and opportunities for my family? I was like, I have to fight for that. I have to fight for that at all costs. And if y'all hate me after this, that's perfectly fine, but I'm not lying. And here it is. If y'all are like, no, we still don't fuck with you, okay, cool. I'm cool. I'll take that. But I can at least say that this is now my truth. Like, this video in and of itself, I'm not lying. I'm not holding anything back. It is what it is. And if y'all hate me, great. If you can understand me a little bit better, even better. Because that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be understood a little bit better of like, why did you do what you did? Why did you tweet this? Why was this photo of like, what's going on? And I was like, okay, I'll give it to y'all.
And one thing we've talked about recently on my channel is about when someone gets canceled, how do people handle that? And recently I just put up a video about a person who was canceled, and she basically said, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, and said, you know, how horrible of an experience it was. But this person never really took any responsibility for the reason why she was canceled. She just kind of said that was terrible. No one should be canceled. But
That's
it
ridiculous.
sounds like and kind of my perspective is that when you quote unquote get canceled, if you're being canceled for a reason, then it's an opportunity to see things from another point of view. It's
Mhm.
an opportunity to hear the voices of a perspective that's not yours in order to consider that maybe I am off base here.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I think that your video resonated with so many people, was you did exactly what you said. You read through what the concerns were, you internalized it, and then you put it back out and said, this is what you told me. Yeah, you're right. I messed up here and here and here. But then here are some things that you didn't know about the situation.
Mhm.
Here are some things that I want to add to context just so you know the full story, and then you can decide what you want. And I think that that's why this went over so well. And what's so impressive about, and to me at least at the time, is I don't think anybody had, at least in our space, done that before.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there with Nikita, who took the complete opposite choice, came out completely unscathed.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that moment of thinking, maybe I should just shut up and not say anything, like, and not upload it? Or you felt like you just had to make that video?
I felt like I had to make that video. I just felt like, to me, the key word has always been accountability. Because if I'm not taking accountability and being mindful of it and like having conversations with people, even if it is with an audience, even if it is with the internet, of like, hey, I'm aware of this. I'm going to take accountability for it. And I'm going to become a better person, because at the end of the day, I'm human. I'm also a consumer. I'm also a watcher of YouTube videos. So if you can't take accountability, then it's like you look kind of crazy. Like, you know, it's like, what? Like, so with that girl saying like, oh, I would never wish cancellation on anybody. And I'm like, but what were you canceled for? That's what I want to know, because at the end of the day, yes, there's some crazy people on the internet, absolutely, that will just message you something malicious, or like, that was the most disgusting outfit, da, 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 da. I get it. But when it's thousands of people having a similar statement towards your direction, maybe just take a pause and be like, is there anything I can learn from this? Is there any truth to it? Is there anything of point where I'm like, I can pick from it, of like, can I learn from this? Because a lot of people who say, oh, I don't like cancel culture, it's like, it's not really cancel culture, it's accountability culture. They're just saying like, hey, you did this, we don't like it. So what are you going to do about it? Because you're a public figure who is supported by fans. And a lot of those fans will literally take away their support. They'll take away their purchasing support. They'll take away their viewership. They'll take away their engagement. They'll take away all of that. And I think the audience has learned that they're like, hey, if you're a messed up person, we're not going to support you. And guess what? That affects your dollar. That affects your pockets.
Yes, it's true. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And speaking of people coming and going, as far as your life and people that have come and gone out of your life, are you what happened after all of that went down as far as your friendships? Like, I know that it was especially rough between you and Manny, because you had called out some of his behavior as far as him using people.
What happened next was where I got upset that I was being painted in a different type of way. So first, Manny's apology wasn't an apology because there wasn't an I'm sorry in there. His initial quote tweet of mine. I wake up that Tuesday and I get a notification that he had quote tweeted me. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay, let me go to it. Thank you for owning up to it and all these things. I'm like, excuse me? So I screenshot it because I'm like, wait, am I crazy? Thank you, Gabby, for speaking up. We took that photo with the intent of recreating Kylie's 21st birthday picture with her sisters. True. The reason I liked it was because it was a photo of the four of us being silly the night before. I didn't read the caption as I had been running around. He was in his hotel, just so you know, when he was liking and responded to it. Maybe he was running around his hotel room. That might be the case. But you can't tell me that you didn't read that tweet. It was a short sentence and it starts with a curse word and it's the photo of us four. You're just gonna like something and respond to it? No. That's not what we're gonna do. And then once I was notified about the caption from you all, I removed my like and asked Gabby to take it down as the photo was supposed to be a fun recreation and nothing more. I wasn't asked by him to take it down. When I said earlier, I asked Laura, how would you like me to better these things? That's why I took it down. Let that be clear. So that's why I'm like, why are you now creating this narrative? The same thing you do in every situation. If we're keeping it 100, let's keep it 100. You feel these things. So not only are you being messy in your quote tweet, let me go look at what you've been liking and what you've been responding to. So why am I seeing, of course you didn't read the caption. It was all fun and games until it backfired on the four of you. It absolutely was not at all. It was childish and I'm too grown for that, honestly. You're too grown? Too grown for what? You constantly talk about him. You constantly say all these things. You constantly use people. Let's look at track records. I don't have bad blood with anybody. Maybe there's one person that me and her have an understanding of. We don't with each other, but let's keep it respectful. That's it. She's not in this community. So why are you the one who constantly keeps burning bridges and using people, but you're too grown? No, you can't. You say worse. Let's keep it 100. You've said worse. So my tweet that kind of set it all off was, no, Manny, stay out of it, and think about who your friends are. He drug you down, did a half-assed apology, and no one is buying. Trust me, it's been an eye-opening 24 hours, is his response. I looked at other tweets he was liking. I wouldn't stay friends with someone that put me in a bad position and created all this drama. Why are you liking this? Yeah, I may have started this, but let's not act like you don't feel like this. If not worse, because I've heard you say worse. When I woke up, I was like, you know what? There's a certain individual that I do need to cut out of my life because it's always just been toxic. A lot of the negativity around you and around your friends has been due to this one person. There's the same factor in all these negative situations around your life because I've had a lot of friends and there's always these negative things going on and that seems to be the remaining factor, and that's Manny. So then I unfollow him. Of course he freaks out because people are now catching on to it, and he then sends me a voice memo that he's outside my building. And it's like, hey, I'm outside your building. You can't come into my building unless I allow you and you're on a list. So of course he's not being let in. So I get a voice memo, hey, I'm outside your building. I don't know why I'm here. I just wanted to talk to you face to face. I know you must be going through a lot. We're all going through a lot. What do you mean we're all going through a lot? What are we all going through? Because it looked like I was the only one going through it. Yeah, certain people were going through things as well, but I didn't tweet other people's things. My photo, I have now taken full accountability for. That tweet I've taken full accountability for. I have apologized to y'all publicly. What do you mean we at this point? Because y'all are liking shady things. It's no longer we. And then he apologizes for liking and responding to things that he misinterpreted. I'm tired of this. I misinterpreted this. Oh, I'm so sorry because of this. Oh, I'm so sorry, but it's because of this. No, if you're sorry, you're sorry. Just keep it 100. keep it 100 with me, and I will respect you. But when Laura's apology came out, and she was dragged through the dirt, dragged through the mud, because you got a lot of hate for not responding to that, and she made sure to include it in hers. You weren't anywhere to defend your friend. But there's a tweet of her defending you at one point. There's your best friends. I'm tired of this narrative being put out that someone is so sweet and someone is so good, when behind the scenes I know so much more. And I'm going crazy because this image is being painted out and it's being well received as, you're good. No, your friend was just dragged to the dirt. I know for a fact that Laura isn't a malicious person. Does she do stupid things? Yes. But I personally, in my experience with Laura, know that she's not a malicious person. But I'm not going to go up to defend her because I didn't get no defense. You were liking shady things. I'm not defending you at this point. But your best friend isn't going to defend you and is going to allow all this while you get the biggest hit and you're losing the most?
That got really messy for a minute. Were you able, or did you even choose to try to be friends again with Laura, Manny? Well, I think you ended up doing campaigns with Jeffrey after that, yeah?
Yeah. I ended up still having a relationship with Jeffrey after all that. We would message, we would kind of like talk about different stuff. Like, oh, those messages and those phone calls were some of the funniest because we were talking about everything that was going on in the beauty space. And Jeffrey just doesn't hold back. So it was like funny. Like we would send audio messages like, did you see this girl? Da, 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 da. And then one day he just calls me and he's like, hey, like he was doing a campaign and my best friend at the time was doing his hair for some of his campaigns. And he was like, I'm launching a concealer and they just said you have really good skin. Do you want to be in my campaign? And I was like, sure. Like, why not? Like no other friend has ever asked me to be in their campaign for anything. So I'm like, why not? Cool. Like you're paying me to be a model in a campaign. Like, absolutely. Why not? So we ended up creating that friendship. And I want to say a year later, maybe a little bit less than a year, around 9 months, I got word that Laura wanted to reach out to me. And she wanted to kind of like mend the friendship because me and Laura didn't really have a harsh falling out in the whole like My Truth video. Like I was like, you complained about him and you told me he did some messed up things to you, but you didn't throw me under the bus. You liked 2 shady tweets about the situation, but you didn't really throw me under the bus like that. Like you weren't replying to these people and saying certain things to the capacity of Manny at the time. So I'm like, okay, like cool. Like, cause me and Laura had a really good friendship. Like we really did. Like me and Manny at the time weren't that close. It was like me and Nikita were really close. Me and Laura were really close. Me and Manny were not that close.
And Laura and Manny were close.
Yes, Laura and Manny were close. Nikita and Manny were close. It was like this like square of like, oh, everybody like is close in some capacity. So let's like all hang out and be friends. And I was like, absolutely. Like, I don't mind it. We ended up having a conversation. I think our first conversation, she might have come over to my place. Yeah, I think she came over to my place. I think she reached out to me first and she texted me and I was like, absolutely. Like, let's set it up. Like you can come over to my place. She came over because I'm like, we're going to be in my safe space. Like you're going to come into my home if you want to reconnect with me because I'm not about to go into your home. You know, it's like come into my home and like really tell me like why we should still be friends. And we cried about stuff. We talked about stuff. We like definitely mended our friendship. And I think she told me that like Manny will eventually like want to reach out to you too. And I was like, okay, like that'll take some time, but I would definitely be open to potentially having that conversation later on. And he ended up reaching out and same thing happened. I asked him over to my place and we had a conversation. I think both conversations were a little over 2 hours and we just talked about everything. Like talked about everything. We're like, let's lay it all out. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hold back. Let's talk about it. Like what happened? And with Manny, ever since then, I have actually built a really good friendship with him. I think the experience was very traumatic for him, but it taught him a lot about himself. And I've noticed a huge change in who he is as a person since then. And it's been nothing but great qualities and growth on his part. So I will definitely commend both of them that they took an accountability of like, we were getting lost in the sauce of fame and thinking we could just do whatever we wanted. And we were in like that, it's my world, everybody else is just living in it type of mentality. And it's like, no. I'm never one to tell you you're not a bad bitch, but you got to understand that there's other bad bitches in the room. You're not better than me, and I'm not better than you, but I'm not less than you, and you're not less than me. Like, I don't care how much money you have. I'm not demeaning anybody's success, anybody's resume. If you're an accomplished person, absolutely, I will give you your flowers, but do not think you are a better person than me or of higher value in a negative capacity in society. Like, don't treat me as less than. Don't treat me as anything like that. Like, be respectful, you know? So ever since then, like, yeah, it's been nothing but respectful.
That's great. That's really good to know. I mean, and you know, Manny and I had a conversation. We had first met at one of those events, and I was kind of a nobody, and he didn't really treat me very nicely in that moment. So after all of that went down, he said in a video, "If I was ever whatever to you, let me know." So I DM'd him.
Oh, okay.
And
Period.
he apologized.
Oh.
And then the next time I saw him at an event, he said hi. I gave him a hug, caught up, and he was lovely. So I had the same experience with him in
Yeah,
that.
people need to be held accountable.
What's up?
People need to be held accountable, and it
Oh,
changes
absolutely.
them, and they
And
learn.
I think the difference is internalizing when and being able to pull your ego down enough to realize that we're all flawed. We're all flawed human beings. We all make mistakes. And sometimes it's hard to hear something negative about yourself, but if you just brush it off and you don't internalize it, you'll just keep being that person.
Yeah.
And it's all about just kind of pulling that in and being letting it help you be a better person instead of just resonating on the negative and pushing it away. And that's something that I saw with, you know, you and with Manny and with Laura. Nikita's interesting. Nikita's an interesting person. You know, Nikita just everything seems to roll off her back. Like she just kind of keeps going and she is who she is, and that's just the way that it is. And if you don't like it, then that's fine. She seems to just be genuinely that's just who she is, and don't like it, fine. It's like privately as well, like
that's kind of what led to the ending of our friendship at a certain point. In the beginning, like that first initial ending, it was hey, like, you're not being a good friend. And and the accountability it's with everything. It's like, that's why to me, it's like, it's all about accountability, whether it's you're holding an influencer accountable, you're holding your friends accountable, you're holding your loved ones accountable, you're holding a stranger accountable. It's about accountability. Hey, this hurt me. What are you going to do about it? Was it intentional? Was it unintentional? Can you like, as somebody who, like, especially as a friend, you know, it's like, hey, this hurts. And it's like, and if their response is like, okay. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not expecting an apology in the sense that, you know, when you hold somebody accountable, if they don't give you an apology, it's like, that is your answer. That is your answer. Like, you can't be like, no, you have to answer like this. Like, you have to let go of that control, let go of that ego, and expecting people to move the way that you would move. You have to allow people to be who they are. And if that makes sense for you, keep them in your life. If it doesn't, remove them out of your life.
So when did this happen, when you and Nikita stopped being friends?
Around 2019, end of like 2019. I just started to see like a certain pattern that I was like, oh, because this was also like after Dramageddon 2. With like
Which
James and
talked about
Tati.
yet.
Yeah.
Because that's something I wanted to talk to you about as well. So maybe we'll go in
Absolutely.
timeline order.
Okay. Yeah.
And kind of keep it. So this is the Dramageddon 2 thing really kind of cracks me up because of your involvement in that. And I think people were surprised because people don't think of you and Nikita when they think of Dramageddon 2. They think of you and Nikita when Dramageddon 1, but you and Nikita were very involved in the start of Dramageddon 2. In that you put up a video because you didn't understand why Tati was mad at James. Well, you didn't put it up specifically for that. It was a drama and opinion. So there were plenty of drama, plenty of opinions in there. One of the opinions was you didn't understand why Tati was mad at James for doing the Sugar Bear hair sponsorship. That didn't make any sense. So when Tati filmed By Sister, which is now infamous.
Yeah. I was in the beginning. Yeah.
She blamed you. She said Gabriel Zamora
called me out on the
called
dance
me
floor.
out on the dance floor.
See, I
And
love that
that's
you remember
why I made
that.
the video, because Gabriel said, "We'll make a video then."
Yeah. If there's this horrible person on the internet, sit on the internet and talk about it then. In the grand scheme of it all, like, you have to really check in with yourself and really think about, like, is this really like a thing? Because if not, you're going to be sitting on the internet crying over vitamins when things are really going on around the world. But I'm not one to tell you how to feel, but you know, like vitamins.
So if you're gonna go on the internet and cry and heavily imply that there's a horrible human being and everybody can get what it is, girls, sit on the internet and talk about it then.
Hey you guys, welcome to today's video. Obviously from the title you know that this is going to be intense and there's so much that you guys don't know, and I'm going to share a lot of it with you because I feel at this point that I have to, because Gabriel Zamora decided to drag me out on the dance floor by calling me out by name in a video that he made about opinions in makeup.
That was wild. That was wild. And I just revisited that in the James Charles series that I did, and I had forgotten some of the pieces of it. But that was a moment that you shifted the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere. So tell me about that. Tell me about how that was from your perspective, because we haven't heard your perspective.
So,
y'all, Gabriel and I talked for nearly 4 hours that day. So, of course, I couldn't put everything into one video initially, that is. So, thank you so much for watching part 1. In part 2, Gabriel talks about what it was like to be behind the scenes and directly involved in Dramageddon 2. Here is a sneak preview. See you soon.
Sometimes you got to go to a therapist first before you start crying to your audience and creating this weird parasocial, like almost like cult-like relationship where they're like, you hurt our person. I have conversations with drama channels. I was having conversations with Rich Lux, Dustin Daly, Ashley Kyle. So my video.
Wait. So you knew about Bi Sister before your Drama and Opinions even came out?
Yes. Like, that's a title. Let's click on it. And we watched and
you
we're
and
like,
Nikita watched Bi Sister together for the first time?
Yeah, just me and her.
And that's exactly what I did in your kitchen in front of Gabriel Zamora.
So when she was like, I told you that in the kitchen, that you were doing bad things and da-da-da. And I was like, no, you didn't. You stand up and you address it. You address it head on. I know you're young, but you gotta fight. What, you're gonna let your career slip out of your hands? The career that you built? You're gonna let these people tarnish it and take it out of your hands? Absolutely not. Fight for it.